Shri Raja Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kungi Yogadam Ki Jai, Kadam Dam Ki Jai, Navadvitam Ki Jai, Durvadam Ki Jai, Jagannath Purinam Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Rasa Devi Ki Jai, Murmai Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Sankirtan Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the Son glories, all glories to the Son glories, all glories to the Son glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste, Here you go. I gotta get that notebook.
Okay, start with Althea class, introduction prayer, page 1. Om Jnana Pramadasya Jnana Jnana Salakya Chaturmita Mina Tasme Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Sakitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kavamayam Yaranti Svakavitam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Winner of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who is established within this material world, a mission to fulfill the desires of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupa Sagargatam Sahagana Raghunana Vitam Tadam Sadekam Sadekam Vaidana Vaidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishka Vitam Cha. My respectful obeisances unto those feet of spiritual master, and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. My respectful obeisances unto the those feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brothers Nanda Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das, Raghavata, Gopala Bhatta, and Sri Viva Goswami. My respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Vaidya, Acharya, Gadhar, and Srivastava, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani, Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Namaha Gata, Krishna, Krishna, Oh, my dear Krishna, you're the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You're the master of devotees and the lover of Radharani. My respectful obeisances to you. My respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vishwanath, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Mancha kalpa karyascha vipasindu vaya ekascha bhaktitanam bhakpadabhayo vaishnavayo namo namaha. My respectful obeisances to all the life devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Gaura-Bhakta-Vrinda. My obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vishnu Gadadhara Srivastava, all others in line with devotion. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Well, we're on chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. starting at verse 65 today. Prasadé sarvadhanam, anyasyo pajayate, prasana chitasati asu, udi prayavati shakti. Translation: for one who is situated in divine consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such a happy state, one's intelligence soon becomes steady. Text 66. Nasti Budayayutasya Natayutasya Bhavana Nachabhavanyata Samgir Translation: one who is not in transcendental consciousness can have neither a controlled mind nor steady intelligence, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Text 67. Indrayanam hichartam Yamano Vividadiyate Tadasyarti Katyanam Yad Vayornamam Ivamvashi. Translation: as a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which mind focuses can carry away man's intelligence. Text 68. Tasman yasya mahavaho vividyatmani savasya Indraya Tipaya Sasya Pradya Vadishita. Therefore, Almighty Arm, one who senses are restrained from mere objects is certainly a steady intelligence. Text 69. Nanisya Asargam Tanam Dasyam Jagarti Samyani Yasyam Jagrati Tutani Translation: what is the night for all beings, and the time of awakening to self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings, night for the perspective saving. At 70. Aparyam manayam machala parishittam samudram apeshanti yatta yatta kamnaya pavishanti kave satyam andam apanatina kamakami. Translation: a person is not disturbed by the insensate flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, and alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Text 71. Vyaya kamanya karman umastrati nishvishva ramano nirana kara Translation: a person who has given up all desire for sense gratification, who lives free from desire, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and devoid of false ego, he can alone attain real peace. Text 72. Eshavami Shriti Prabhupada Nayanam Rayutya Vimyati Stitvatsatya Kalipi Brahmanes Nirvanam Shakti. Translation: that is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered, being so situated even at the hour of death, one entering the kingdom of God. Chapter 3. A couple more verses here. Text 1, chapter 3. Arjuna Bhaja Jaya Shakti Chetamana Shakti Mata Vir Janagardana Satyin Kamani Gore Ham Jaya Shri Ishava. Translation: Arjuna said, "Oh, Janardana, Janardana."
It's Janardana.
What?
Janardana.
Janardana. Janardana.
There you go.
Okay, Shiva, why do you urge me to engage in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than prudent work. Text 2. Amen Shrina Lekapina Vinamaya Srene Kalikam Nishitya Nina Sriyo Nam Apunyam. Translation: My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively what is most beneficial for me. Text 3. Shri Bhagavan Bhaksha Ishnan Iya Nishta Buddha Prokta Mayan Naka Yana Yogena Sankhayanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Translation: what the Lord said, "Oh, sinners, Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who self-realize the soul. So, two classes of men who realize the self. Some are inclined to understanding by empirical philosophical speculation, and others are inclined to knowing by devotional work." Final text this evening, text 4. Na karmanam anarnam bam nashkaranya purusha Nute Nacha Sanyas Sundakeva Samadhi Chakati. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from creation, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Turning to text. I believe the word 60.
Yeah, 66.
65. 65. Translation: Fourth by divine grace, saves upon Congress on power of God. One who is situated in divine consciousness, the threefold miseries of pure existence exist no longer. In such a happy state, one's intelligence soon becomes steady. Text 66. One who is not in transcendental consciousness can have neither a controlled mind nor steady intelligence, without which there is no possibility of peace. How can there be any happiness without peace? Report. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, chapter 5, verse 29. That when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all who give himself in sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universes and other statements, that he is the real friend of all humanity, and only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to the want of an ultimate goal. When one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much one may make a show of peace, the spiritual advantage of life Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in realization, only in relationship with Krishna. Hey, I don't know. One who is not in transcendental consciousness can have neither a controlled mind nor steady intelligence, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? It seems like what everyone's striving for these days. Everyone's always after, peace. We're always in this stirred state. The moment that we were born, the place is too cold, it's too hot. Funny smells. Noises are too loud, too soft. Bed's too hard, too soft. All kinds of, things that disturb us. Food's too salty or too sweet. Music, may be annoying. I mean, all these external things all around us that disturb us. That's just the material kind of it. And there's the mind. Oh, my heart of Krishna, mind itself. One that's has not controlled the mind. And you're even in more world of distress. Because you can have everything around you and everything perfect around you. Have the softest bed, have the most powerful food, have the most entertainment there is, have like all the movies on TV or live streaming to your tablet or your white big screen TV at home, have perfect AC balance between heating and cooling, have perfect humidity, have the perfect smells in your home. You have everything perfect around you. But you don't have your mind entertained, you don't have your mind as a friend, you're in total misery. That's most of our battle. Battling our own mind. And just look at those who have had all these luxuries in life that weren't happy, that had to continually searching for other sources of happiness. I always like to bring out, great personalities. Elvis Presley. King of rock. Fame, wealth, prestige, family. Resorted to drugs because he wasn't happy enough. He had everything. And people worshiping him. He wasn't happy. Drugs ended up taking his life. Another great personality, Michael Jackson. One of the biggest personalities in the world. Oh my gosh. He literally had to have private security walk with him outside his own home, on his own ground. Because people would try to parachute in from above to Neverland, to the compound there, just to try to meet them. So he could never be alone. He always had to have security around him because he was so well known with such great fame. Found himself in the laps of luxury. all that. Hey, Ben, and Steve, well, everything. Oh, trying to make his environment perfect around him. He still also, found himself addicted to prescription drugs and even drugs that, yeah, he literally he had to take a shot to be put out, to fall asleep at night. He lived in a very miserable time, even though he had everything. Robin Williams, great comedian, great actor, had everything. It's the top of his career in both comedy and acting. Did all kinds of movies. Tremendous career. Brought joy to millions of people. But he himself was battling his own mind. Throughout his career, he was, battling cocaine addiction, alcohol addiction. And he ended up taking his own life in the end because it wasn't enough. Drowning ourselves in these laps of luxury. So controlling the mind is where it's at. In Krishna consciousness, it gives us a pathway to peace. Because without taking advantage of this, we're always going to be disturbed. We might have a few moments of peace and happiness from one moment to the next, but it's a continual chase. You catch the happiness and poof, it's gone. You catch the happiness and poof, it's gone. You catch the happiness and poof, it's gone. Over and over and over again. It's a tiresome chase. In Krishna consciousness, Maha Mantra is how we begin to tame the mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Doing our 16 rounds a day. Keeping our focus on this vibration, the sound of the Maha Mantra alone. Where we're continually bringing our mind back to it, even though our thoughts are trying to pull us away because we're so used to being controlled by our mind. Our mind say, hey, look at this. Hey, I'm hungry. Hey, I don't like that smell. Hey, I feel discomfort. The mind is always trying to pull us and sway us, from our present moment. Just try to spend a few minutes in silence, and not try to think of nothing. And you see just how active the mind is. So it'll pull you away in so many different directions. With chanting the Maha Mantra, especially in the beginning, most people want to try to, follow their thoughts as they're chanting to kill the time, because that time just seems just oh man, it's just taking so long to do these rounds. I'd rather be doing something else. The mind is trying to pull you away all the time. But by slowly being patient and trying to focus on the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh, I think I forgot to do my laundry today. Oh, that was a thought. Got to bring myself back to the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. I wonder who's playing the Super Bowl this year. Oh, that's another thought. I got to bring myself back to the mantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I wonder what's for breakfast today. Oh, that's another thought. I gotta bring myself back to the mantra. But that's what it takes. That's what you have to do over and over and over again. Because you're trying to take control of this disturbed mind that's has had this right, this power over you for so long that, like, you're going to listen to what I say, what I do all the time. This is your mind talking. But no, you're taking control of it. You say, no, we're focusing on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. And you keep going back to that. No matter how much the mind begs you, no matter how much the mind tries to disturb you, no matter how many distracting thoughts it throws your way. With time and patience, and continual practice, one slowly begins to start taming the mind. And within time and with determination, one can make the mind turn the mind into one's best friend and focus when they want to focus. To where Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare is the go-to where the mind is naturally situated in, where it's continually in the trance of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. But that's the goal. That's where you got to get to. That's where the nectar's at. That's just the beginning. Oh, it's so sweet. Because this folds over into your service as well. As you're training the mind Maha Mantra, you're training the mind also as you're doing service. As you're doing service, you're training the mind Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. To the mind is most where it's comfortable in that state of being, of just chanting, whether you're doing it aloud or doing it in your head, or or just hearing it in your mind's ear over and over. It's there. It becomes a very blissful state. And service becomes very pleasurable. No matter what service you're doing. No matter how many dishes you gotta wash. No matter how many surfaces you gotta wipe. No matter how much food you gotta prepare. All becomes very, very pleasurable. Any questions or comments before we move on? Here, text 67. As a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses of which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Unless all the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarisha, all the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique of controlling the mind. Engaging all the senses, Krishna consciousness, is like going out and pulling weeds every day. I don't know if anyone's ever had the experience of, maintaining a garden and, trying to grow fresh vegetables. But growing up, my mom always had a garden. Wherever we moved to, oh man, I always had to dig up a garden, dig out a garden and, plant a garden because she had to have her fresh, vegetables during the summer. It's a lot of work. It's not an easy task. But one of the things that you come across after you've dug everything up and removed all the weeds and removed all the, replaced it with good soil and, making sure everything's fertile and put good seed down is weeds. Weeds are continually trying to come up. So if you're not out there every day pulling the new weeds that are coming up by the roots, then the weeds then eventually overtake the garden and your harvest is not very beneficial. Makes a very weak harvest. Weeds strangle the plants. And very much like in devotional service, in our bhakti yoga and our controlling our mind, if we allow our senses to engage in material sense gratification, that's like a weed that's watering a weed that's growing rather than, watering the bhakti. There's people that can get, lost and controlled by pornography. So many people in this world are addicted to online pornography because it's sense gratification on demand. Swipe and you look, swipe and you look. Oh, look, boom, boom, boom. But people become addicted. Anything can become an addiction, not just drugs. Anything can become an addiction for sense gratification. And pornography is one of the ones that causes so many to fall, so many to be in so much distress. That weed can become so strong if you're watering it every single day. So it's important every time that you have these thoughts, you resort back to Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because you're pulling up that weed and watering the bhakti. So anytime that we are having difficulties, we always have to check ourselves, remind ourselves, I don't want to water that weed. I want to water the bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because only by watering the flowers of bhakti can our devotional service grow. And the only way that our devotional service can grow is because we continually pull up these weeds that our senses are trying to gratify themselves on. Because desires are endless. There's an unlimited amount of desires out there. We are given a particular body, because of our past actions. This body is specifically designed to fulfill the desires of my past actions. So in the past, I was, I did a lot of drugs, did a lot of alcohol. Did a lot of things. But this body was designed for it. And it was only by taking shelter, Maha Mantra, surrendering to Krishna, realizing I'm powerless, that I'm able to overcome these obstacles. This body that was specifically designed to enjoy these things. Krishna's like, you like these things. You desired these things. I gave you the body to desire them. Your DNA is specifically geared towards that. As I say, in many ways we are powerless without Krishna. Move on to the next verse, 68. Therefore, O mighty armed one, whose senses are restrained from their objects, is certainly of steady intelligence. As enemies are curbed by superior force, similarly, the senses can be curbed not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called sadhaka, or suitable candidate for liberation. Text 70. What is night for all beings in the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage? Purport. There are two classes of intelligent men. The one is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic men. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas a man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams, or of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reaction. Text 70. Person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desire, it enters like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, can alone achieve peace. Not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Report. Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady, is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all of his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the river that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities, and he is not even slightly disturbed by desires for sense gratification. That is the proof of Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification. Although the desires are present, because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace. The fruitive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desire to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. Devotees of Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are in perfect peace. Hmm. That's interesting. I like that verse. Yeah, the bit of the purport. But if the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. Hmm. Think about that. Wow. So situated in your service, so happy and soul in fullness that you're not even desiring liberation from material bondage anymore. You're just desiring to serve. See, many people think that, they can do it on their own, that they can, try, Krishna consciousness as a one-man show, try to, you know, please Krishna on their own. But that's not how it works. The true path is pleasing his devotees. That's the real essence. Because through pleasing his devotees, you're pleasing Krishna. And that, in fact, is the fastest path to liberation. So if one can strive to remain in service to devotees lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, it doesn't matter where you're reborn into. It doesn't matter if you're reborn into hell. It doesn't matter if you're reborn into heaven, as long as you're able to serve devotees. You're serving Krishna. That's the fastest way to happiness. That's the fastest way to peace. Because this is not meant to be done alone. It's meant to be done through the association of the devotees. Any questions or comments before we move on? Text 71. Person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In other words, desire for becoming Krishna consciousness is actually desirelessness. To understand one's actual position as the eternal servitor of Krishna without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself and without falsely claiming to proprietorship over anything in the world is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. One who is situated in this perfect stage knows that because Krishna is a proprietor of everything, therefore everything must be used for the satisfaction of Krishna. Arjuna did not want to fight for his own sense satisfaction, but when he became fully Krishna conscious, he fought because Krishna wanted him to fight. For himself, there was no desire to fight, but for Krishna, the same Arjuna fought to his best ability. Desire for the satisfaction of Krishna is really desirelessness. It is not an artificial attempt to abolish desires. Living entity cannot be desireless or senseless, but he does have to change the equality of the desires. Materially desireless person certainly knows that everything belongs to Krishna. Isavasyam idam sarvam, and therefore he does not falsely claim proprietorship over anything. This transcendental knowledge is based on self-realization, namely knowing perfectly well that every living entity is the eternal part and parcel of Krishna and spiritual identity, and therefore eternal position of the living entity is never on the level of Krishna or greater than him. This understanding of Krishna consciousness is a basic principle of real peace. Text 72, this final final text of this chapter. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Report. One can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once, within a second, or one may not attain such a state or of life even after millions of births. It is only a matter of understanding and accepting the fact. Katvanga Maharaj attains this state of life just a few minutes before his death. By surrendering unto Krishna, nirvana means ending the process of materialistic life. According to the Buddhist philosophy, there is only void. After the completion of this material life, but the Bhagavad Gita teaches differently. Actual life begins after the completion of this material life. Oops. Let's see. Where was I here? Okay. Material life. For the gross material life, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there's another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana. There is no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord, since both of them are on the absolute plane. To be engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord is to have attained the spiritual kingdom. In the material world, there are activities for sense gratification, whereas in the spiritual world, there are activities of Krishna consciousness. Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediate attainment of Brahman. And one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. Brahman is just the opposite of matter. Therefore, Brahmi Sahiti means not on the platform of material activities. Devotional service of the Lord is accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as liberated stage. Therefore, Brahmi Sahiti is liberation material bondage. Srila Bhakti Vinodi Thakur has summarized this second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as being the contents of the whole text. The Bhagavad Gita, the subject matters are Kama Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. The second chapter, Kama Yoga and Jnana Yoga, have been clearly discussed, and a glimpse of Bhakti Yoga has also been given as a context for the complete text. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the matter of its contents. That is our time for today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.